I've never been the kind of person to believe in ghosts or supernatural things, but after what happened that night, I don't think I'll ever be the same. I live in Pune, a bustling city in India, where life doesn't stop no matter the hour. It was a cold winter evening, and I was at my desk, sipping coffee, lost in my own world. My mom called out and asked me to get some medicine for her. Being the procrastinator that I am, I pushed it off, saying I'd go later. Time flew by, and soon it was 11 p.m. The streets were quiet, with a kind of eerie calm that only comes late at night. I grabbed my jacket, my bike keys, and headed out to the 24/7's medical store nearby. After picking up the medicine, I felt the urge to go for a late-night ride, something I often do to clear my head. There's a small bridge not too far from my place, surrounded by towering trees and shadowed by tall buildings in the distance. The bridge has a kind of haunting beauty to it, especially at night. Beneath it runs a dam, and when it's open, the rushing water creates a mesmerizing, soothing symphony. Here's where things get unsettling. In India, we don't bury the dead, we cremate them. And this bridge, it has 4 cremation sites around it, 2 at either end of the bridge. I didn't think much of it. I'm not superstitious, and honestly, I never believed in ghosts. It was midnight when I arrived. I parked my bike near the start of the bridge, lit a cigarette, and put on some music. The cold breeze whispered through the trees, and the distant sound of water made the setting almost surreal. At the far end of the bridge, I noticed a pyre burning, a body being cremated. I decided to stay where I was and not disturb the rituals. An hour passed, and I felt it was time to head home. But to do that, I'd have to pass the cremation site. I started my bike and began riding slowly. The closer I got, the more aware I became of the burning pyre. And then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw it, a shadow. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light. But as I got closer, the shadow became clearer, a man squatting right next to the burning pyre. I slowed down to get a better look, and what I saw still haunts me to this day. He was scratching his head, violently, almost like he was trying to tear his scalp off. His movements were frantic, jerky, and unnatural. His hair was catching fire from the pyre, but he didn't seem to care. Instead, he rocked back and forth, making these guttural, animalistic sounds. My heart froze. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but my body wouldn't move. Then he turned. In a flash, faster than anything I've ever seen, he snapped his head toward me. I'll never forget the sound. A sharp, crackling zap, like static electricity. His face was illuminated by the flames. And his eyes were hollow, empty pits that seemed to swallow the light around them. I don't know how, but I managed to kill my headlights and twist the throttle, desperate to get away without drawing his attention. But as I passed him, I felt it. A cold, piercing gaze, as if he was looking straight into my soul. I didn't dare look back. My hands trembled, my body was drenched in sweat despite the cold, and I rode faster than I ever have, praying he wouldn't follow. When I reached home, I locked every door and window, my heart still pounding in my chest. That night, I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I woke up with a high fever that lasted 2 days. When I finally gathered the courage to visit the bridge in daylight, there was nothing. No signs of anyone, no evidence of what I'd seen. To this day, I don't know if it was a ghost, a hallucination, or something else entirely. But one thing is certain. I'll never go near that bridge at night again. I was walking to my sister's college dorm in the dead of night at 2 a.m. after finally parking my car in a remote lot. I had had a long plane and car journey riddled with bumps in the road only to arrive here at this ungodly hour. The campus was empty because a recent ice storm had frozen everyone in. The crackle of ice and crunch of my feet was the only sound as I hiked my heavy backpack higher on my shoulder. I was carefully shuffling alongside the road, trying to avoid slipping and guided by the glow of spare streetlights. After a few minutes of walking and some misdirection, I located the entrance to the dorm, a little concrete entryway with a porch light in the darkness. And as I was texting my sister to come down and let me in, the blue and red of flashing police lights caught my eye. No siren. The cop car slowly pulled by the curb, and an indistinct man in a uniform stepped out. Nobody else was here, so was he here for me? Did I look suspicious or homeless? Like a lost girl due to the backpack? It was possible he was checking up on me due to that. However, he walked up to stand near me and said nothing, seemingly waiting for something. I clutched my phone, feeling the slight anxiety of a police officer turning his lights on, but addressing nothing, and the slight anxiety of a human's proximity without addressing the other human. I could swear I felt eyes on me. "Hi, can I help you?" I asked abruptly, turning to look him full in the eye while taking a tentative step back. "I'm looking for a girl that went missing in the area. What's your name, and what are you doing here?" "Oh, it's Rachel. My sister's coming down to get me," I said with a mind to suddenly make a call, gripping my phone even tighter with the screen unlocked. Was I being suspicious somehow? Why was he being weird? "I'm staying with her for the weekend," he said nothing. He just kept standing there. "So someone's missing on campus. That's awful." I wondered if my sister could know who it was, or how somebody could go missing on a campus in such a safe town. "What's the girl's name?" "It was Rachel." "You look like her." "Wow, that's a coincidence." "Well, it is a common name around here." Still silence, I caught the welcome sight of my sister coming down the stairs. She buzzed me in, and I realized the officer was coming into the dorm with my sister's buzz in too. What did he need to do here so late at night? Was the girl missing from this building? "Good luck," I said after greeting my sister, referring to the missing girl. He had already begun to walk away, so the entreaty was to his back. No acknowledgement in return as the guy slipped past the stairwell and into another area of the dorm. What was even through that door? So strange. We ran up the stairs, and I locked my sister's door behind me. Both locks. I explained that the cop was looking for a girl missing on campus and asked if my sister knew any other Rachels. She said no. After settling into the couch, I Googled missing girl Rachel insert town name here, and started to shake when I came across an article of a local cold case with the picture of a missing girl who bore no true resemblance to me, but had the same awkward innocence in her expression that I did. A sort of dorky, kind look in her eyes that struck me. Her name was Rachel. The officer had said her name was Rachel. He also said I looked like a missing girl. Maybe I did, but how does an adult college girl go missing on such a small campus? It would be all over the news if a young woman had genuinely gone missing. But as I checked in periodically, nothing ever made headlines. Coincidence or not, benign or not, exhausted or not, the entire strange incident spooked me and made me wary of walking alone so late at night. Crime is all about opportunity. In my gut, I knew that something was wrong. What would have happened if my sister hadn't showed up so quickly? Recently, I've been experiencing some strange things in the house. I'm 15 and sleep in a room adjacent to my parents. Sometimes, when I sleep, I feel a presence lurking near the door. And on those nights, the room feels especially dark and unsettling. We live in an apartment complex that's well guarded and always bustling. People often go for walks late into the night. A couple of days ago, I was studying in the living room and moved the table away from the wall to make space. After finishing, I moved the table back against the wall and went to my room. A while later, I heard the sound of heavy furniture being moved coming from the living room but ignored it. When my mom came back home, I was alone at the time. She asked why I hadn't moved the table back to its place. I was confused because I had moved it, but when I checked, the table was back in the position I'd used while studying. I found it odd but decided to brush it off. Fast forward to now. Last night, I went to bed extremely early, around 7:30 p.m. That's very unusual for me since I'm a night owl and typically stay up until 2 a.m. on weekends. I felt drained, even though I had come back from school early and hadn't gone out after that. I first woke up around 10:15 p.m. and debated whether to stay up or go back to sleep. I was also extremely hungry since I hadn't eaten since lunch, but I ended up going back to bed. The entire night, I felt like someone was sleeping beside me. I didn't think much of it because, on occasion, my parents will sleep beside me if I'm feeling down or unwell. Yesterday, I was feeling really upset about losing a scholarship opportunity, but in the morning, I asked my parents, and both denied entering my room at all. I don't know how to explain these recent experiences. I'm not scared, just feeling a bit unsettled. If it helps, my grandmother passed away in this house about a year and a half ago, but the presence I felt wasn't threatening in any way. Has anyone else experienced something similar?